Good morning again. This is your nerdy best friend, and I am trying to get to the bottom and get you guys some help for what's been happening with this whole malware, Trojan horse kind of thing that's going on. And I know nerds. My friend Phil Gerbyshak is a fantastic tech guru. He speaks to companies about technology and about social selling, but he happens to know some stuff. So I called upon Phil and I said, can you get on here and try to help my people? Can we get some advice? And that's what he's going to do today. So I'm going to ask Phil. Phil, please say hello and tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Hey everyone, how you doing? I'm coming to you from Tampa, Florida, and yep, I'm a fellow nerd, a former VP of IT. I've worked with software companies, and now I train a lot of companies on how to make sure that their technology, their sales, and their culture line up so that they can make money with it.
So you'll notice that Phil's voice is not really synchronized. We were going to fix it, but we really want this answer to go to people today. So let's just go hashtag dang technology and keep going. Phil, so here, hashtag Phil, here's what happened. This morning I got an email that said, please see attached and confirm, open and confirm, something like that. And there was a document attached to that, and part of it said request.doc, and it was DOC, not DOCX, which is more common these days. All kinds of flags went up. Number one, I don't have a huge relationship with this person. She's one of my nerdy friends, and she had replied to my email or to my newsletter, which was, that response to my newsletter set up flags. And then the second thing is she had an attachment. And the third thing was it was very curt and weird, not like an email that a friend would or that a colleague would send. So all of these things went up in my head. One of the things I want to ask you about is on her end. So I called her up right away and I said, hey, what's going on? And she just went, oh my gosh, it's been a mess. She works for a chamber of commerce and her emails went out to tons of people and she's getting phone calls and questions and emails back. And she's like, I don't know who to go to. I don't know what to do. Where should she start?
Well, if we talk about prevention, that was the first thing that you mentioned. That is, let your antenna be your guide. If you feel that something's weird, then don't do anything. Like, don't click, don't open, do pick up the phone and call. Let's say on the receiver, to your question, right? I'm the one that maybe sent that out to you. Well, if you notice that your email's going nuts, disconnected from the internet. That's your first step. So shut off your wireless. If you're hardwired in, pull the cord, just on your machine. So quarantine where you are. That's the first most important thing to do. Okay, then the second thing you can do is run a virus scan. Run a virus scan on your computer. Now, if it's trying to update, right, if this just got launched to the wild an hour ago, they're not going to have updated virus definitions anyway, but this will catch the things that have been going around for a while. So run the virus scan, reboot your computer, and then take a look as you reboot and you open your email program and you're still not connected to the internet. Take a look in your outbox. Are things queuing up? Are they in draft? Are things queued up to send? That's a great sign that, oops, I got something, in which case, you can go down to your local PC company and they can then run some diagnostics for you. You could go, Best Buy has their Geek Squad, or if you have a local shop that you trust, go to them and they can help you. Because if you don't have any knowledge, if you're not as big of a nerd as you and I, Beth, you need to have someone you can trust. And as great as it is that people can trust me in Tampa and they can trust you in San Diego, don't connect to the internet, which means you're not going to be able to get to us. You need a local human being that can help you with that. Now, sometimes they have some updated virus definitions. A lot of times, Symantec or McAfee or pick your company, what's the other one with the K? I'm not thinking of it right now. Kaspersky. Yep, Kaspersky. They're going to have updated virus definitions that you might be able to download, put on a USB drive, and plug into a computer to rerun those virus updates and conk that out. But the first thing, disconnect from the internet. Quarantine yourself just like you would if you had the flu, and don't infect anybody else.
Now, getting back to specifically this colleague who did this, who this happened to, a weird thing happened. So she has an email account, as many of us do, through our provider that we don't even use, right? I have one, and they issued you an email, and I don't use it. All these came through that email on an account she doesn't even use and doesn't even have hooked up. Talk about that and how to address that.
Well, the good news is then your machine is not the one that's infected. What likely happened instead is that account set up somewhere got hacked because they set it up maybe with the default password, in which case you call up your provider and you say, please lock out and change the password on my account. Please lock it out and change that password, because that'll stop it from going, because most email requires authentication to actually send. So if that's true, right, lock that down. But the good news is that means you did not get infected. Your machine, there's nothing wrong there. Somebody else got hacked, and they went through and they looked through your database and found that, because if you've never hooked it up, then it's impossible that you were sending email on that behalf. But it could have spoofed it. That's the other thing, is they could have also done what's called email spoofing, which means if I'm Phil Gerbyshak at provider.com, they just did a dictionary attack, and maybe they grabbed all the usernames and they sent out as many emails as they could before your email provider realized, holy crap, we're sending out 20 or 50 or 100,000 messages an hour. We didn't even realize that. It's, again, then probably on your internet service provider or your email provider that you don't use. It's on their end. So let them know, because they probably don't know, in which case they have to patch the email server and make sure that does not happen again.
So what you're telling me, and what I'm hearing, is that normal people are going to have a big mystery on their hand about how this happened, where they go to get help, whether their machine is infected, whether somebody else's machine is infected, what they clicked on, what happened. And again, I like your idea of getting a local expert, talking to someone right away, calling your provider right away and saying, oh, let's stop this.
Yep, absolutely. That's the key is quarantine, right? If we can keep it in a box, we can contain it until a fix can be known. If it's worldwide, if there's this massive problem all across the internet, they're going to fix this sooner than if it's just you. So this is where call your provider, find out, is this localized to my machine, to my computer, or is this a bigger deal? Is this something that everybody's affected by? In which case, you might want to just take the afternoon off and go hang out at the beach.
Yeah. So let me ask you about a couple of extra things. Say this happens to you and your company. This is a chamber of commerce. It happened to me many years ago. I was mortified. I felt dirty. I know that's a weird word, but I felt like I was betraying all my trusted contacts, and they were getting it. I just felt dirty. What if this happens to you? What's the PR to help?
Yeah, well, the PR to help, first, again, if you find out that it's nationwide, now you've got an opportunity then to go back and just let people know that, hey, by the way, I was infected by the Phil Gerbyshak virus. It's unfortunate, but it happened, right? Just if you got something from me last week, go ahead and delete that. Because most people, they're not reading email in real time. And if this was a massive scale breach, then what's going to happen is all those messages eventually will get deleted from the servers anyway. So don't freak out like you might. The people that respond, then take the time to send them a clean email that says, hey, Beth, I was in fact infected by the virus. I apologize for it. Please delete that message that you got from me last week if you saw it, right? If they respond to you, but don't just reply, and don't freak out, because though you certainly feel violated, most of the time these big scale things, they happen, and then the internet service providers, the virus protection, Google, Yahoo, Microsoft, they know about these viruses. So they're going to remove them from their system too. So again, while you feel bad, I wouldn't stress too much. But if you do, if the first person in your address book is AAA and it is your most important person, pick up the phone and call them. One of the other things as a prevention is to add an contact in your address book is the first person with like 8 A's. So it's alphabetically the first person with no email address, so that it stops. If it is one of these address book hackers that goes through and sends to everybody, a lot of times if it comes across a contact with no information, it'll stop because it'll choke on that bad address. So that's something else you can do to prevent. But again, after the fact, safest for the most important people, pick up the phone. Hey, Beth, I just want you to know, looks like I got compromised. I'm really sorry. If you got a message from me this morning or up until like last night at midnight, that looks like that's when we're hit. Go ahead and delete that, or post it to your social media, put it on your Facebook page. Hey, it looks like we were compromised. If you got something from us that looks like this, then go ahead and delete it. Just know it isn't really from us. Because pretending that there isn't a problem makes you look stupid and ignorant. Acknowledging that there's a problem and telling people it's okay to delete it, we have it under control, shows that while mistakes happen, you're pretty with it.
So let's talk about on the other side. So I received that. My concern went up. My husband, probably 2 weeks ago, sent me a note and said, I was on the road, and said, hey, Beth, he said, hey, babe, because that's where we are. He said, hey, babe, I got this email from Google. They said I was compromised and I had to reset my email, and I can't get into anything, and I don't know what's going on, and it's all weird what's happening. And he had forwarded that to me, and then he called me about it, and I did not see it. Now, it turns out my Gmail had filtered that and flagged it, and it didn't come in the regular way. So my Gmail knew that was bad. His Gmail did not flag it. And then he was concerned. He told me that he went outside, which is what you need to do to check things in Google. So he did not click through there. But talk a second about those antennae and what kind of things we should be looking for.
Sure. So first, know that most of the big providers, the reason that they ask you for that second form of authentication, they ask for your phone number, because if you're compromised and you're locked out of your account, would they really send you an email that you're locked out of for you to reopen that account? Probably not. They'd probably send you a text message. Okay. But that being said, then go, as you're thinking about this, you're like, I don't know if this is legit or not. So then look at the two, who it's from. If it's from google.ru, it's probably not legit. Or if it's from Google Mail, police at philg.cu.ma or something silly like that makes no sense. And you look at the email address. Look at it, not just the show name, not just the display name that says Google, but then look at the actual address. Google is probably going to have something that looks like help at or help desk at or support at, not pickles 5631, right? So that's a sure get as well. To your point about Gmail, again, if you're not sure, don't do anything. Just leave it alone, because eventually, to your point, DJ got it. He might have been the first one that got it. So Google's filters didn't know yet. By the time he forwarded to you, now Google's figured it out. They've caught that and they've caught up. So now they say, oh, nope, that's bad. Put that away. So that's another thing you can do. If you have another Gmail account, see, did I get the same email there? Does it look exactly the same? That's another way to do it. And then again, if you're not sure, just sit on it. Just sit on it, and people who send attachments that have never sent you an attachment before, people who send you hyperlinks that you've never heard from before, people that say this is an online pharmacy, or my mom, I love my mom, but she's almost 70 years old. When my mom sends me hyperlinks in email, I never click them. It's just because I know mom may not have the latest virus protection. She's only, she's the Diet Coke of nerdy. She's close, but not quite, right? So I know, and then pick up the phone. Hey, mom, did you mean to send me this email? Oh, no, I didn't. I didn't send that. Oh, okay, no problem. I just want you to know, in case any of your other friends call you, that you can just delete that message.
One of the things I want to tell my readers, and I'm sure you emphasize too, is that sometimes it's tough to see actually where things come from and actually what they are. And in Gmail, there's a little down link, a little down arrow that'll let you see the full thread, but there's also a way, it's on the other side of the screen, that lets you see the original email and see if there's anything weird in there, but it's all kind of techy and with a lot of numbers and IP addresses and all these things, Gmail/content, whatever. Again, if any kind of flags go up, the problem is sometimes, and this is what's happening with the chamber, they correspond all the time. She's sending things to committee members, and they're like, oh, here's something that I do. I was just checking out on the forums when I looked up request.doc. There are several threads about what that is, and it seems to be up in the last couple of days. And it said, I was just duped because I got it from somebody I'd been working with, and it looked like something he might send, and I was duped. And these are people who are pretty nerdy. So any kind of weirdness. I love your idea. This is what I do, and that's what I did today. Pick up the phone and say, is that you? Or write to them at a different email address, clean email, and say, I just got something from you and it's a weirdo, rather than just replying, because that could get you weird stuff.
Yep. And again, it's best just change the channel. Send them a clean email. If you're friends with them on Facebook, send them a Facebook message. Give them a phone call. The goal is to take the medium that it's in, which is email, and change that. Go somewhere else so that the conversation can be real. And then they can open up their message and say, oh, yeah, I did mean to send you that. Or, oh, no, I didn't. But always err on the side of prevention rather than aggressiveness, right? I know we're busy, but take an extra beat to really think about this, right? Is somebody going to reply to your newsletter with an attachment? Probably not. Is someone that you have been corresponding with via, are you coming to the meeting request? Are you coming to the meeting? They reply with pizza. Well, that doesn't make sense. So again, use your head and know that people behave like people, but these stupid viruses often behave erratically. So if you're not sure that it's a human being doing this, take that beat, pick up the phone, send them a Facebook message, change the channel, and make sure that you are safe before you click on it and embarrass yourself.
I know we've been talking for a few minutes, and I'm hoping people are watching the whole thing, but I wanted to point out another one that's been going around for a little while that we could fall for very easily. People send, or systems send attachments that they call invoices. They say, your invoice is attached. And that is very common. That's happening a lot. I've even gotten a couple of those. And it's like, why would they be sending me an invoice? What is this? It's natural curiosity that could get you in trouble.
Yep. Yeah, don't be curious if someone sends you an invoice that you didn't buy anything from, right? Curiosity really did kill the cat, and it crushed your computer, so don't do it.
Okay, so thank you so much for your time today. Please tell everyone how to get in touch with you and your brilliance and the kind of things that you share, so that if they have more questions and if they want to find out more about you, which they should, tell me about that.
Sure. So the easiest way, really, find me on LinkedIn And let's have a conversation there. If you're even a little bit nerdy, find me on LinkedIn. It's Gerbyshak, is Gerbyshak. My first name is Phil. Just find me there, or put into your favorite social media engine, Phil Gerbyshak, and you'll find me, and let's connect there.
Perfect. Well, I thank you very much for your time. You did this on the fly. I appreciate it, because I needed an expert to help me, and that was
My
you.
pleasure. I'm
Thanks
glad
so
to
much,
help you.
Phil.
Anytime, Beth.